He walked into that chamber believing he had earned it. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, stood before the Jedi High Council at the heart of the Coruscant Temple. He had fought in 100 battles. He had bled for the Republic. He had given everything the Jedi Order ever asked, without hesitation and without complaint. But the words that came back were not the ones he expected. "A Jedi Master you shall not be." Yoda's voice was soft, almost gentle. And in that single moment, something inside Anakin Skywalker cracked. He was offered a seat on the council, a rare honor, they said. But without the rank of Master? It was an insult wrapped in ceremony. He knew it. They knew it. And Anakin was never the kind of man who stayed quiet. "How can you do this?" His voice was low, his jaw tight. "This is outrageous. It is completely unfair." Mace Windu did not blink. Obi-Wan looked away. And just like that, Anakin Skywalker began to understand something he had long refused to accept. The Jedi Council did not truly trust him. They never had. He was their weapon, never their equal. A blade kept sharp for war and put aside in times of peace. They had watched him since childhood, trained him, shaped him, tested him, and still they held back the one thing he had worked his entire life to earn. Anakin walked out of that chamber without another word. But behind those eyes, something had changed. The anger was no longer a flash of heat. It was quiet now, patient, and far more dangerous than anything that had come before. He would not forget this moment. And somewhere across Coruscant, someone else was counting on exactly that. Palpatine had been watching. He always watched. That was his greatest gift, reading people the way generals read battle maps, finding the weak points, waiting for the right opening. And right now, Anakin Skywalker was just one quiet conversation away from breaking wide open. The Chancellor did not rush. He let the wound breathe first. He found Anakin later that evening alone, in a corridor near the Senate district, jaw tight, eyes hollow and distant. The exact kind of look Palpatine had spent years patiently waiting to see. "I heard what happened today," Palpatine said softly. No performance, no grand entrance, just the calm, steady voice of a man who sounded genuinely sorry. Anakin said nothing, but he did not walk away. That was all Palpatine needed. Palpatine chose every word like a weapon. He told Anakin that the Council had always feared him, that men like Anakin, gifted, fierce, and impossible to contain, made traditional Jedi deeply uncomfortable. And so they kept him close enough to use in war, but never close enough to truly trust in peace. It was not just manipulation, it was the truth, and that made it far more dangerous. Anakin had heard these words before. He had pushed them aside every time. But now, the Council had already done Palpatine's work for him. The door was wide open. The Chancellor simply walked through it. "You are more powerful than any of them," Palpatine said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And deep down, they all know it." Anakin held his gaze. Long, still, silent. He did not agree out loud. He did not have to, because something behind those eyes had already shifted quietly, steadily, like a flame catching in the dark. And Palpatine smiled. The game had already begun. Palpatine's words should have faded. They usually did. But this time, Anakin could not let them go. The Chancellor had said the Council always feared him, that they kept him useful, but never trusted. It sounded like manipulation, but it also sounded like something Anakin had felt his entire life. So, for the first time in years, he started paying close attention to what was truly happening in the shadows. And what he found shook him to his core. It started with a conversation he was never meant to hear. Mace Windu speaking in low, careful tones to another council member, questioning whether Anakin could ever truly be controlled. Whether a man of his power and his attachments was simply too dangerous to operate without limits. Then came the records. Restricted files Anakin was not cleared to access. Council meeting summaries discussing him not as a hero of the Republic, but as a liability, a variable, a risk to be managed. They had watched him, measured him, discussed what would be done if he ever crossed a line they had quietly drawn without ever telling him where it was. And then he found the hardest truth of all. They had known about his struggles, his nightmares, his fears for Padme. And they had said nothing, not to help him, but to keep those fears on file, just in case they ever needed leverage. Anakin stood alone in that empty corridor for a very long time. The Jedi had not failed him by accident, not anymore. They had managed him deliberately, carefully, and without a single shred of honesty. And the man who had once been willing to die for the Order was now standing at the very edge of something he could never come back from. The war had already broken the galaxy, but tonight, it would break a brotherhood. The Jedi Temple stood silent under the Coruscant night. Inside the council chamber, tension hung heavy in the air. The war with the Separatists dragged on, and fear had begun to spread among the Jedi. At the center of it all stood Anakin Skywalker. The council did not trust him. Master Windu spoke first, his voice calm but firm. Skywalker's attachment clouds his judgment. The prophecy may have been misread. The words struck harder than any blade. Obi-Wan Kenobi stood silently beside the council ring. His mind raced with memories training a young slave boy on Tatooine, watching him become a hero in the Clone Wars, believing he was the chosen one. But now the council demanded loyalty. Master Kenobi, said Yoda slowly, your duty to the Order must come first. The chamber felt colder. For the first time, Obi-Wan hesitated. Anakin had trusted him, followed him, fought beside him in every battle. But the Jedi Code allowed no attachment, and Obi-Wan had always obeyed the code. Hours later, Anakin stood alone on a balcony overlooking Coruscant's endless lights. He sensed Obi-Wan approaching before hearing his footsteps. You spoke with the council, Anakin said quietly. Obi-Wan stopped beside him. There was pain in his voice when he answered, yes. Anakin turned. His eyes searched Obi-Wan's face for something. Anything. Did you defend me? The silence that followed felt endless. Obi-Wan finally spoke. The council believes your emotions are dangerous. Anakin's expression hardened. And you? Another pause. Then the words came. I stand with the council. Something inside Anakin shattered. For years, Obi-Wan had been more than a master. He had been a brother. And now that brother had chosen the Order instead. The city lights flickered across Anakin's face as anger slowly replaced the pain. Somewhere in the shadows of Coruscant, another voice was waiting for him. And this time, Anakin might listen. The night on Coruscant felt darker than usual. Anakin Skywalker moved through the quiet apartment like a storm trapped in human form. His thoughts burned with anger, betrayal, and fear. The council did not trust him. And now Obi-Wan had proven it. The doors behind him opened softly. Padme Amidala stepped inside, her face filled with worry. Anakin, he did not turn around. She walked closer, slowly, carefully. I heard what happened with the council, she said. Still silence. Anakin stood near the wide window, staring down at the endless city lights. Millions of people lived below, yet he had never felt more alone. Padme placed a gentle hand on his arm. Please look at me. He turned. His eyes were darker now, filled with something she had never seen before. They think I'm dangerous, Anakin said. Padme shook her head. No, they're afraid. The war has made everyone afraid. Anakin stepped away from her. Afraid of me. His voice was sharper now. They use me to win battles, but when the war is over, they'll cast me aside. Padme moved closer again. That's not true. But Anakin's anger was growing faster than her words. Obi-Wan didn't defend me, he said. After everything we've done together. The pain behind the words was real. Padme understood it. She placed both hands on his shoulders. Then step back from all of it, she said softly. The council, the war, let them fight their own battles. For a moment, Anakin almost listened. Almost, but another voice echoed in his memory. Calm, persuasive, patient. Chancellor Palpatine. The Jedi will never accept your power. Anakin slowly pulled away from Padme's grip. You don't understand, he said quietly. Padme felt a chill run through her. Anakin, what are you planning? He looked toward the city once more. And far away, in the heart of Coruscant, the Chancellor was already waiting. The next move in the galaxy had already begun. The Jedi Temple stood tall over Coruscant. For centuries, it had been a place of peace discipline, and wisdom. But tonight, something felt different. The Force itself seemed uneasy. Inside the main hall, the doors opened slowly. Anakin Skywalker walked in alone. His boots echoed across the stone floor as he moved toward the council chamber. No Jedi tried to stop him. Many simply watched from a distance, sensing the storm building around him. When the council doors opened, 12 masters waited inside. Master Windu sat at the center. Yoda watched quietly beside him. Anakin stepped into the circle. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Windu broke the silence. "Skywalker, your actions have raised serious concerns." Anakin crossed his arms. "Concerns?" he replied calmly. "You tried to control me." Yoda leaned forward slightly. "Control you, we did not. Protect the Order, we must." Anakin's eyes hardened. The Order stopped protecting the galaxy a long time ago. The Masters exchanged uneasy glances. Anakin continued. "You send me to fight your wars. You trust me to win battles. But the moment I question you, suddenly I'm dangerous." Windu's voice grew firm. "You are dangerously close to the dark side." Anakin stepped forward. The tension in the room rose instantly. "Then listen carefully," he said. His voice was steady, but the power behind it was impossible to ignore. "I'm done following orders that make no sense." Silence filled the chamber. "I will continue protecting the Republic," Anakin said. "But I will do it my way." Windu's expression darkened. "That is not how the Jedi work." Anakin looked around the council one last time. "Then maybe the Jedi are the problem." The Force trembled between them, because everyone in that room realized something terrifying. This confrontation was no longer about discipline. It was about power. The Jedi Council had made its decision. For days they had watched Anakin Skywalker closely. His anger had grown stronger. His connection to the Force had become unstable, unpredictable, and the Council feared what that power might become. Inside the quiet council chamber, Master Windu spoke firmly. "We cannot allow Skywalker to fall any further." Around the circle, the Masters nodded. Yoda's voice was calm, but heavy with concern. "Dangerous the path ahead is. Act now. We must." The plan was simple. Anakin would be detained inside the Jedi Temple until the Council could decide his future. But the Jedi underestimated one thing. Anakin Skywalker was not easy to control. Late that evening, Jedi Knights quietly moved through the temple corridors. Their footsteps were careful, their faces tense. At the center of it all stood Anakin. He felt them before he saw them. The Force shifted around him, like a warning. He turned just as 3 Jedi stepped into the room. Lightsabers ignited. Blue. Green. The glow filled the chamber. "Anakin Skywalker," one of them said. "By order of the Jedi Council, you are to come with us." Anakin's jaw tightened. "So that's it," he said slowly. "You've already judged me." "No one wants this fight," another Jedi replied. "Then why bring your weapons?" For a brief moment, no one moved. Then Anakin reached for his lightsaber. The sound of ignition cut through the silence. Blue light clashed against blue and green. Steel and energy collided. The battle inside the temple had begun. Across Coruscant, deep within the Chancellor's office, a quiet smile appeared, because the Jedi had just made the mistake he had been waiting for. And now, Anakin Skywalker had truly begun to fall. The Jedi Temple was no longer silent. The sound of lightsabers echoed through the stone halls. Blue light flashed against green and purple. Footsteps moved fast across the polished floors. The battle had spread far beyond one room. At the center of it all stood Anakin Skywalker. His movements were faster now, sharper, more precise. Every strike carried anger, but also control. The Jedi had come to arrest him. Now they were fighting to survive. A young Jedi Knight rushed forward, blade raised. "Anakin, stop! This is not the way." Their sabers collided. Energy crackled between them. Anakin pushed forward with brutal strength. The Jedi stumbled backward, barely blocking the next strike. "You decided my fate already," Anakin said coldly. Another attack forced the Jedi to the ground. Across the chamber, 2 more Jedi stepped forward to help their fallen ally. But Anakin was no longer fighting like a Jedi. He was fighting to win. Within moments, the room fell silent again. The surviving Jedi backed away slowly, realizing the truth. Anakin Skywalker had crossed a line that could not be undone. Far away in the Senate district, the Chancellor watched events unfold through secret reports and hidden sensors. Palpatine folded his hands calmly. The final step had arrived. Later that night, Anakin stood inside the dark office of the Supreme Chancellor. No guards, no witnesses, only silence. Palpatine studied him carefully. "You see now," he said softly. "The Jedi were never your allies." Anakin did not argue. He had seen the truth for himself. "They tried to control me," Anakin replied. Palpatine nodded slowly. "Then perhaps it is time you stop serving them." The room felt colder. For a long moment, Anakin said nothing. Then he spoke a single sentence. "I won't serve anyone again." Palpatine smiled slightly. "Good," he said, "because the galaxy is ready for something far more powerful." And on that night, Darth Vader was born. Coruscant had not slept. News of the fight inside the Jedi Temple spread quickly through hidden channels. Rumors moved across the capital like wildfire. Some said Anakin Skywalker had attacked the Jedi. Others whispered that the Jedi had tried to arrest their greatest hero. No one knew the full truth. But inside the dark halls of the Chancellor's office, the truth was clear. Anakin Skywalker no longer existed. Darth Vader stood near the large window overlooking the endless city lights. His posture was calm now, controlled. The anger that once burned inside him had changed. It was colder, sharper. Palpatine watched him carefully from across the room. "The Jedi will not stop," the Chancellor said quietly. "They will hunt you." Vader did not turn. "I know. They will send their best masters." Vader finally spoke again. "Good." Palpatine's thin smile returned. "You understand what must happen." Vader turned slowly. "They betrayed the Republic," he said. Palpatine nodded. "And they betrayed you." For a moment, silence filled the office. Then Palpatine activated a small holoprojector. Several Jedi locations appeared across the galaxy. Hidden outposts, secret command centers, surviving masters. "The Jedi still believe they control the war," Palpatine explained. "But that illusion can be broken." Vader studied the map carefully. One location stood out. A Jedi fleet gathering near the Outer Rim, preparing for their next move. "They're planning something," Vader said. "Yes," Palpatine replied. "And if they succeed, they may still destroy everything we are building." Vader reached forward and shut off the projection. His decision had already been made. "They won't get the chance." Far away, in the Jedi Temple, Master Yoda suddenly opened his eyes. A deep disturbance rippled through the Force. Because somewhere in the galaxy, Darth Vader had just chosen his first target.